We are joined by UC Irvine head coach David Kniffin, to his left Alexandre Nsakanda, and to his right Connor Dahm, after a 3-0 victory in the first round of the 2022 Outrigger Big West Men's Volleyball Championship presented by the Hawaiian Islands. We will start by asking Coach for an opening statement and then open the floor to questions from media members in the room. For those joining us on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to indicate that you have a question, and we will call on you after the in-person questions have been asked. We will ask all media to please identify yourself and your outlet before asking your question. Coach, please start us off with your thoughts on tonight's game.
Well, before we start with tonight's game, I would just say that really just impressive job as always by the Hawaii staff. Just every time we come here, we feel like we're at home. So there's just a really nice job by everyone. Great game setup, great trainings the day before. Every need was met, so thank you for that. As far as the match goes tonight, one thing this team has never been short on is belief, and the other thing is I found myself saying in the press conference yesterday, maybe prematurely, you can't write a better story than the journey we've been on this year with the team. Somebody asked, so who's your third middle? And we don't really have a third middle. So when Aiden went down, I think we all took a deep breath and just thought, well, you know what? This is just actually how this year is going. So let's just lean into it and put a guy out there with a ton of passion and see what happens.
Coach, first question goes to you. Is throughout the season, UC San Diego was very competitive with you guys. What was the difference tonight that made a big difference?
Well, San Diego hasn't really seen that composition of players yet that we put on the court tonight. The first two times we played them, we were a completely different team. And I can actually say that authentically for about 6 or 7 points through the season where we had different starting lineups on the court. So I think that was big for us. Brian Garcia, when he came in, we always thought he'd be a starter for us. We figured he'd probably need his first year to redshirt, and then, he'd be a guy that would go out and play for 4 years. It didn't work out that way. He needed to play his first year because of other changes within our roster. And so he got on the court prematurely, and then he was battling cancer and going through chemo. And then he came back, and we thought he was healthy from that. And then all of a sudden he's got this injury that nags him all fall, and he misses the entire preseason this year. And so we're navigating the season with Pat Vornkamp as our starting setter and team captain and just such a cultural leader for us. And then, he goes down with a season-ending injury. And then Dylan Jai, who did a bunch of work for us last year, gets on the court, and he does a great job. And then right as he's doing a great job and we're catching rhythm again, he goes down with an injury, just days after Brian Garcia gets cleared to get back out on the court. So Brian's been a big difference maker for us. I mean, that kid is a good volleyball player, and he just, I think lacks time in our league. But the thing I've said about him, and I've said about every guy on this team this year, is every time we step on the court, we get a little bit better. So I think that, paired with just the constant improvement, as we've gone out and gotten a little better every time we've played, puts us in a really nice position. I think we got better tonight, too. So I think we're a different team tomorrow against Long Beach than we were the first 2 times we played them.
For Coach and the players, you mentioned, there were matches with Long Beach earlier this season, able to split with them. What do you take out of those matches going into tomorrow night's match?
That's probably me, huh? I think we've lost something like 7 5-set matches this year. I mean, we've been competitive with everybody. We obviously split the series with Long Beach. We beat them in 5 at our place, but then they pretty much smashed us at their place. I think just knowing that we can play with anybody, the authentic belief that we can play with anybody, and that we're at that point in the season now where it's like let's just keep battling. I think that's what we take away.
And was there a takeaway from the series with Hawaii last week, going to 5, in that match, and that you were able to build on going into the tournament now?
I'm going to get redundant pretty quick here. What do you think we took out of the series last week with Hawaii?
I think last week out of Hawaii, we definitely took out that we can play with the top teams in our league. And not only that, but we can go and win and put good points on the board. We've been saying it all year, just go out there, play Irvine ball. Every single time we step on the court, it's just about getting 1% better. And I think we did that. And I think coming here, it's a new experience. We're in Hawaii. So it'll be a little bit different, but we're going to get out there and we're going to play 1% better.
Players, you just mentioned playing Irvine ball. What does that really mean for you guys? When you go out there and you are competitive and you get a W, what's the difference maker?
The rallies I was just playing with a lot of passion, and at the same time, like Irvine ball, just serving each other on the court. Just everything we do, the plays, just serving each other and make everything better for each other. And that's definitely what it is.
I know that sounds a little bit like, oh yeah, okay, storybook cliche and everything, but we just put down this, crazy cool custom Terraflex court called Court 21 in our gym. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the story, that court is dedicated to the life and legacy, really, of Tim Vorenkamp, who that was his mantra. He was a 2015 commit for us. We thought he was coming. Again, we thought that he was going to be this guy that would set and just had all these great leadership qualities and someone we were all really excited to work with. And, the guy doesn't get to, obviously doesn't make that journey. He passed away in his, what would have been his freshman year at UCI. But Tim's thing was like, never give up hope, always believe, live for others. And so when we say this isn't just like something we're saying because it sounds cool. Like, that's a commitment. And it's not perfect, and we're not great at it all the time. But I think we really believe it.
Connor, question for you. When you look at the situation of tonight, a neutral court, but San Diego traveled well. Did that play into you guys motivated-wise, or what did you see tonight?
I think San Diego, they played really well, and especially when I hopped in, they tried to do something in the middle, and obviously they wanted to attack me because I'm on the smaller end for a middle blocker in our league. But I think all it really came down to is champions operate as needed to win. If that means I have to step in and play middle, if that means I have to step in and play outside hitter, if that means anybody on our roster has to step in when someone goes down, I think we're fully equipped to do that, no matter who's on the other side of the net.
Coach, last question for you in the room is you had a couple guys have some big nights tonight that really contributed and made a big difference. How is that going to carry over into tomorrow, you think?
I think it just reinforces the feeling of belief that we have that we can. Chesko put up just really, truly phenomenal numbers tonight. I think at one point he was a little frustrated because he wasn't serving the ball in as much as he wanted to, but I also don't think he realized that he was getting like 20 kills with one hitting error at that moment. These guys go out and I think they just kind of try to go point to point. But there were some big-time performances all around our side of the net. That San Diego team is good. All the teams in the Big West are really good. So obviously, we're talking about a lot of stuff tonight. I don't know that I could pinpoint one single thing that's the reason we come out 3-0 against that team, but I can tell you that I've been on this journey enough times to know that a player or two can really make the difference. It can go either way, and that's just playoff volleyball.
You want to do it for us inside the room?
Speaking to those those close matches that you've had throughout the season, how much did that kind of play into that third set, going 30-28 there and needing to come up with big points there? What was the kind of talk amongst the guys on the floor in those situations, having to fight offset points and with you guys going back and forth?
It was a super close game at the end, super close game, right? So we were just thinking about playing point to point, just playing Irvine ball and playing our game at the end of the day. Especially when they were serving against us, just focus on playing point to point, and that's what we did. Feel like we ended up executing super well, and that's all we could have done in that moment, given it was so close match. So.
What were the guys saying to you when you came off the court?
When I came off the court, it was a lot of love. All you experience from this team is bonding together, being together, eye contact. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. When I left the court, all I got was a nod and eye contact, and all that told me was, you're going to come back in, you're going to do some great things. And I felt that. I really felt that. I don't think I could have felt that with anybody else. I think this team is something special.
Thank you, Coach Connor and Alexandre. Will face Long Beach State tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Hawaii time and 7:30 Pacific. Good luck tomorrow.